But my question for you, Victor, is like, what would you encourage? Because I'm assuming there's a lot of independent musicians out here that spend all their time in the practice room and with their friends trying to create beautiful music, and then you can get to that point where you're creating incredibly beautiful music. Like Jacob, you can have this huge fan base, but you can still not make any money and not survive and not continue to create that music. Because then when you make your record, you spend the money on it and you never make a dollar of it back. And it's not like break even like it used to be with the record label, where they paid to have the record label. You paid for it and you lost $25,000 and everybody loved it and you never got anything back. So what would your
First, I would just say start by making great music. Right? Make the music that you'll die happy that you made. I mean, start there. You know, all of our heroes, Hendrix, Beatles, Zeppelin, Elvis, Michael Jackson, Prince, we love them because they were like no one else. We like them because of who they were. There was no other one like Prince. There was no other one like Elvis. That's why we love these people. But a lot of us are trained to be like someone else, where the gift is in being like you. I heard Bela Fleck just yesterday say, if you play your own game, you can never lose. Right? That's powerful. Very, very powerful. It's a game you can't lose. And we're all born with a gift. As my mom said, we all are born with a fingerprint on our hand that's never been here in the history of humankind. Think about it. In the history of what we call humans, this fingerprint has never been here and it will never be here again. That's already powerful. That means you're already special, as special as anyone else. Right? And no one wants to change their fingerprint. Oh, I like yours better. Right? We have something. And if you know what it takes to be born, out of all the choices, for some reason life chose you to be here. That's amazing. You've already won the biggest lottery you will ever enter. We're all champions. We are the champions. We've won. We're special. The beauty of it, or the curse, however you want to spin it, is that we have choice. We have choice to choose what to do with this gift. We've been given the gift. If you don't do anything but sit on your couch for the rest of your life, it doesn't mean you're not any less special than anyone else. You were born. It means you're special. You're a gift to the world. Right? We have choice to do something with it. Michael says he was opening for me. I think at the time I might have been even playing with just a drummer, duo. I can't remember. But anyway, from opening for a bass player, Victor Wooten, to running a music festival that you're at right now shows you what can be done. Everybody has something, right? I just say make good choices. Let's do something with it. Don't always fall back and let people, society, governments, or whatever choose for us. And if you're a musician and you want to be in the music business, I say start by making music that you feel, that your heart sings about, because guaranteed you will find an audience for it. If there's people with a lack of talent who can do it, imagine if you have talent. What can you do? Talent, heart, you know? This is the time to do it. You can't wait anymore. You know, we got to do it. The world needs you.
Add to that is Miles Davis made a statement that sometimes it might take a long time to learn to play like yourself. So in finding your own voice, it's like a quest to find your own voice. And so through all of your influences that you develop and that you like and you imitate, some kind of way at the end of that journey is your voice, but it may take a journey to get to it. So to me, that's like Joseph Campbell's great hero's journey. You're on a hero's journey to find your own voice. That's the quest that you're on, and it's worth it.
Yeah. I like that. To me, it's a shame that we musically have to find our own voice. Because when did you ever have to find your speaking voice? You didn't. Right? Because no one ever robbed you of it when you were learning to speak. You can get on the phone right now, call your mom and say 2 syllables, hello, and they know who it is. But how many musicians can play 2 notes and you know who it is? Very few. So the fact that we have to find our voice musically has to do with how we learn. Citizens. Right? So if there's any teachers out there, we got to be careful with how we teach. Are we teaching their voice or are we teaching them our voice? Right? We want them to develop their voice. So it's up to us to recognize their voice and amplify it. Not just teach them what we learn. Your job as a teacher is to recognize their gifts and then amplify it. And like a kid who only likes desserts, you got to sneak in vegetables. Right? But you do it in the right way, they will start to crave it. And I'm speaking from experience. That's how my brothers taught me. Roy's one of my 4 older brothers. When I was born, they needed a bass player. Right? True story. See, I get all the credit, but my path was laid out for me. The same way I learned to speak English. You don't think of me as special because of that. You say, well, your family spoke English? Bingo. My family spoke music too. So my path was easy. But think about this. When I was 5, Reggie says I turned 6 on a tour. We were the opening band for Curtis Mayfield's Superfly tour. Okay? On the West Coast, right? So I tell people this and I get the credit. You gotta think about this. When I was being taught at 2, my oldest brother Reggie was only 10. Roy was 9. Rudy was 8. My brother Joseph was 5, and 10-year-old Reggie was teaching Joseph to play keyboards. So how does these 10, 9, and 8-year-old brothers get their 5 and 2-year-old brother good enough to be opening for Curtis Mayfield in a few short years? That's the story. I get to sit here and talk, but they're the real story. But the key was how they taught, or more importantly, how they didn't teach. You don't teach a kid to speak your first language. You just let them speak. You never tell them they're wrong. You never make them practice. You never correct them. They don't even know they're a beginner. They're just jamming with the pros the whole time. Right? But in music, you're a beginner. And if you put a C sharp in the key of C, you're wrong. Right? But if a kid calls it a blankie instead of a blanket, you can be 6 years old calling it a blankie. I'll start calling it a blankie too. We don't correct them until they're 7, 8, 9. They've been speaking 6 years before they get their first lesson. Music, you get lessons the first day. And so most of us grew up afraid of messing up in front of you. Our freedom's gone. We had to bring back our freedom. That's what we lost.
Wow.